All right, do it. Chrissy said perfect. Perfect. So Paul, I'll throw it over to you to get into
Sure.
Paul. Paul's been doing this for how long now?
So I've been working in digital for close to a decade now, but I've been doing it super seriously for about 5 years.
Amazing. And you'll see, I mean, I've seen some of the information that Paul has done, and Paul lives and breathes this himself. So what he's going to be teaching you today, he does for himself, and you're going to kind of get a sneak peek at how an expert marketer does it, but also what a marketer does for his clients as well. So let's do it.
All right, cool. So let's do it. So my name's Paul Raimondo, as Andrea introduced me earlier. And today what we're going to be talking about is lead magnets and what they are, what the most crucial elements to building a successful lead magnet for your digital marketing funnel are. So I'm going to be sharing a bunch of awesome lead magnet examples, and I'm also going to give you some insight into how you can choose the right lead magnet for your business. So before we continue, I just want to give you a quick bit of context in terms of who I am and where I'm coming from and what I do with myself for a living. So like I said, my name's Paul, and I'm a massive nerd for all things digital marketing, tech, and entrepreneurship. I've spent close to a decade, like the last decade of my life, actioning digital and social media marketing strategies for both national brands and global brands across globally and also mainly within Australia. I've worked with clients such as 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗡𝗖𝗧, which is one of the biggest tech conferences in the world, 𝗓𝗏, which is a huge building company, primary goods company, bricks and that kind of stuff. Other companies I've worked with include Porsche, Red Bull, Choice, and Australian Sports Nutrition. I've been able to get some really, really baller results, specifically with Google AdWords, with search, with SEO, and most recently with Facebook ads, and using Facebook and Instagram ads to really, really get an awesome return on investment from my ad spend for both myself and for my clients. So one of my most recent and successful campaigns was a 32-day campaign where I was selling a hybrid. It was actually a hybrid course and also physical product. So it was like a training course which went over a 6 to 8 week period. And that also was accompanied by physical products as well. So it was a really nice hybrid mix between the two. The way in which I went about selling that is very similar to what I'm going to be some of the things I'm going to be talking about today. And I'm very sure it's very similar to the whole creating a sales funnel that you would have gone through with Andrea last week in the webinars last week. So basically I created a multi-tier funnel and used Facebook ads to drive cold traffic to a bunch of content. And then I also used that content to drive them into lead magnets. So I was able to get their email address and acquire them as leads. And then eventually, as they move further and further down the funnel, I was able to transform those leads into sales. And this is all automated, and it was all automated once it was set up and optimized. But in essence, what actually ended up happening was there was a $16,000, if you see down the bottom there, there's a $16,365.38 ad spend. And we transformed that into over $250,000 in sales in a space of 32 days. So it was really cool, really cool, and really fun. And it's actually, I'm not going to say it's simple, but it's actually really easy to get started and to actually get set up with your own sales funnel for your business to sell your online course. At the moment, just to quickly give you a bit more context in terms of what I'm doing with myself, I run a boutique digital marketing agency called Raimondo Media. And basically the goal of Raimondo Media is to transform evangelism or general awareness into evangelism through strategically executed digital experiences. And so I do that. It's a client services-based business. So I do digital marketing for clients. I've worked with heaps of clients, heaps of different industries. And then the other thing that I do is paulraimondo.com. And that's basically my website where I teach entrepreneurs, startups, marketers, digital marketing strategies that help them drive more traffic, boost conversions, and increase the overall amount of leads they can generate from their online presence. Anyway, enough about me. So let's get into what we're going to be talking about today. So basically the outline for today's webinar, we're going to firstly start by looking at what a lead magnet is. We're then going to be looking at the 10 laws of lead magnets. We're going to then have a look at what types of lead magnets exist. And then I'm going to go through a worked example as well. So first things first, what is a lead magnet? So a lead magnet is a small slice of value that solves a specific problem for a relevant audience. So lead magnets are offered in exchange for an opt-in, which is usually a prospect's first name and email address. So let's just break down this definition so we can kind of just get a bit more of an understanding of what it really means. So small slice of value. So a small slice of value helps your audience solve a problem they're having in one way, shape, or another. Now, by providing this small slice of value, your lead magnet gives you the first opportunity to reinforce to your audience what their problem is, whatever problem they have in terms of why they're looking to you for information. So your lead magnet gives you the first opportunity to reinforce what the problem is. And it also gives you the first opportunity to make solving the problem that your audience is having more of a priority. The next keyword in part of this definition we're going to look at is specific problem for a relevant audience. So the specific problem for a relevant audience looks at and refers to the specificity and the relevancy of your lead magnet and how it will dictate, how effective it is at converting it into opt-ins. So by creating your lead magnet to solve one specific problem which is relevant for one audience, you'll position it to be successful. So if your lead magnet is specific, it solves a specific problem for a specific audience, and that audience is the relevant audience, so it's the right audience for your lead magnet, then it's more often than not going to be very, very successful. And the last thing we're going to look at as part of the definition is offered in exchange for an opt-in. So in order to receive your lead magnet, your audience has to pay with an opt-in, right? So this is one of many reasons why lead magnets are so awesome, because they allow you to build your list while also providing lots of value and solving a problem that your audience is currently having. And by opting in, they're effectively paying. So the currency that they're paying with is their contact information, right? And by opting in, you're able to obviously build your list, which allows you to decrease the total cost that you're spending on advertising. So you're not spending so much money on Facebook ads or Google ads. And it also allows you to filter into an automated email funnel to follow up and to provide more value and to help them keep solving the problem until eventually they might consider buying, in your instance, or everyone that's watching, in buying your online course, right? Right, so without getting into too much detail and risking too much confusion, and I also know that you guys covered what a basic sales funnel was last week. So I want to quickly just overview where your lead magnet sits in your funnel. So I'm aware that you and Andrew and you guys went over the basic sales funnel last week, but for those that don't know, so a funnel or a conversion funnel or a customer journey or a sales pipeline is just a multi-step, multivariate system which automatically guides your prospect towards whatever your core offer for your business is, whatever primary proposal your business is going to be making, which in your case would be the course that you're offering, in a non-invasive and non-pushy way. So the goal of any funnel is to basically transform general awareness, which is going to be happening at the very top of the funnel, into a solution in terms of how your brand can solve that problem for your audience, both by offering an actual solution to the problem, as well as then in terms of a lead magnet, and then potentially, and most importantly, offering your actual offer at the end of the funnel. So basically, a very basic way in which this funnel would work would be at the very top of your funnel, you've got content that's driving your audience into your funnel, whether it be a blog post or whether it be a listicle, top X reasons why something should do this. And then on your content, you'd have your lead magnet or an opportunity for your audience to opt into your lead magnet. And by doing that, they're opting in, so you're capturing their contact information and their email address. Next step this isn't a necessary step. The next step you can do is offer them, once they consume your lead magnet and consume value from you, and once you've got a bit of a relationship with them, you can then offer them a paid content upgrade, which is similar to a lead magnet, but it's just a really, really low price point, say like $6.99. And it basically just transforms the relationship that you have with your audience from passive kind of listener to actual buyer. And that then ultimately leading to the sale. But you don't need to worry about the paid content upgrade. Like if you can get people into your sales funnel, into your email funnel with your lead magnet, and you can build a relationship with them, it's going to be a lot more likely that they're going to actually end up getting your course from you. I'm also seeing a bunch of comments coming through from you guys, but I don't want to exit out.
Yeah, I can jump in too. There was a really, really good question about, yes, last week we talked about creating a bonus for June. So on your sales page, we prompt everyone to create a sales bonus for June. There was a wonderful question about how do you distinguish between a lead magnet right now and bonus? Both are giving free content, both are giving something extra and above. Such a valuable question. So if I explain a little bit and then Paul can jump in as well, but ideally the lead magnet itself is you're putting the lead magnet out into the world. You're kind of dropping it all over the place and leaving it behind. And it's going to drive people back to your sales page, but giving them something. So you're giving them a little bit of free content. You're warming up your lead. You're kind of creating this relationship, as Paul had mentioned, before you can ask for money, like we were talking about last week. But then once they have them on the sales page, but we created the June bonus as an extra incentive to make it a timely promotion. So you've done a lot of work getting them to the sales page, and then the bonus is there in order to create some time sensitivity around the offer. So that's the distinction between the two of them. That kind of helps and makes sense. But I'll throw it back to you, Paul. And in terms of, Paul, just jump in. Can you see the webinar chat, or should I just read them and kind of help you out?
Yeah, so just the way that it's probably I'm going to take responsibility. It's probably my ignorance. So if I want to see the comments, it's going to exit out of my keynote presentation.
That's fine. That's perfect. So I'll just help jump in and answer everyone's chats along the way.
Cool.
But otherwise, we're
doing
really well in terms of questions. People are really excited and really impressed, by the way, about kind of the results that you had with your own lead magnet and how you were able to drive kind of the revenue that you did. I can make a comment too, and I think Paul will mention this, but Paul put in that $16,000 and it drove a huge amount of revenue kind of out of the funnel. If you're feeling like you're new and that's like, well, I don't have $16,000 to put kind of into the beginning of the funnel, maybe lead magnets aren't for me. Absolutely not. No.
That's correct.
Lead magnets are going to be able to be these free pieces of content that you can put out around there. Someone like Paul, who has a wonderful lead magnet, can boost that necessarily with maybe Facebook ads or paid ads, and it can now reach even more people. But we're going to show you in later webinars how you're going to be able to take that lead magnet and put it into different places on the web, all free. So you're going to look about how you put them into different forums. How do you essentially reach out to industry influencers and get them to start sharing your content? How do you get interviewed on podcasts? So all things that we're trying to do for you for free that can be able to reach new audiences and drive them back to your sales page. And then when you really, really get into it, then we can, you can jump over to Paul's information in general and teach you more about actually paid ads. But we're not going to touch with paid ads for 30 and 30. But anyway, that gives people some understanding, and don't get too overwhelmed because it's definitely here at your fingertips.
Yeah, that's it. And that's such an awesome point. Like, don't let that massive ad spend kind of alienate you from wanting to chase after it or thinking that this is going to work. That execution was I was only able to spend that much on the ad spend because I had proof of concept after spending a small amount of money, right? And it's not really about the total amount of ad spend that you have, right? It's about the actual return on that ad spend that you're making, so the percentage of the return, right? So that return on ad spend, so $16,000 ad spend and a $250,000 total revenue of sales in 32 days, like I think that works out to be around a 10x or 1,000% return on investment, 10x return on ad spend. When I've actually done this in the past, like last year, for example, I spent on a different campaign, I spent $5,989 Facebook ad spend and made $163,000 return. So I spent probably like a third of the ad spend and got an even higher return on investment. So the return on investment on that campaign was 27x instead of the 10x that, and excuse my math if I'm wrong with this current return that I'm talking about. But it's all about creating a funnel that's able to automatically guide your prospects towards your desired action, which is obviously selling your core offer, which would be the course, in a non-invasive way. And the lead magnet and the content, it's all created in part of your funnel. It's a really, really great way to do that because you're solving an audience's problem before actually asking them for any money. And if they do want to actually get something more from you, you can then offer them the paid option at the very end, right? But if you've got a bit of money that you want to spend on the ads, you can still spend, you know, $50 to $100 or $200. You can still get some really awesome results. You don't need to, you know, spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get awesome results, because, you know, if you 10x a $100 investment, right? So let's say, you know, your price point of your course is $100. It's $99, right? And you know that you're going to get 10x on your initial ads that you're running to sell the course. So that means you only have to sell like 10 courses at $99, like for $900 or $1,000 worth of sales. And that means you 10x your $100 ad spend on Facebook, for example, to get people to opt into your lead magnet. So yeah, and seeing some more comments popping up. If there's anything
so everyone's wondering, so people love it. I think there's some wonderful questions, and Rob's really excited to jump onto your course actually about Facebook ads on a budget course and figuring out how we'll do that. And Jessica was making some comments about just like what type of lead magnets should we use, and we're gonna get into that right now. So I think the best is to just
let's do it.
And then as those questions come in, I'll be sure to watch them. And everyone, if you're in chat and you're not seeing your questions answered, throw them over to the Q&A too. Then they line up really nicely for me. You're making kind of nice to me if I ask you to do that, but it throws them out really nicely, comes to me, and I can answer them. But if you're throwing them in chat, we can all see them, and that's great. But if you're feeling like somehow you got missed already, just throw in Q&A, and then it'll be organized for me to answer after.
Perfect. And I just want to make sure that everyone's seeing my actual presenter screen. They're not seeing my notes screen. Everyone's just seeing one screen.
Yeah, I think everyone can. Nope, we're good. We're seeing your video, and we're seeing your presenter screen. So
Perfect. All righty, let's get into it. So, lead magnets are like everywhere, right? So, if you're watching this webinar right now, it means that you've already opted into a lead magnet, because I believe that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, but I believe that the way in which everyone would have gotten into this webinar would have been by signing up to a specific opt-in form on the Thinkific website. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did. We had a landing page with an opt-in form. We didn't give any free content away, but they would have seen it last week with Courtney. The homework was to create and refine your sales page, and we dropped a lead magnet in the course. So they would have actually seen already that. And later on, we're going to have a lead magnet from you, I think. So you will have seen it a little bit already, and there are going to be more to come.
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, lead magnets are everywhere. And basically, like by opting into the lead magnet for either to get access to this free webinar, or a lead magnet to try out Thinkific for free, or I'll go through his other examples of lead magnets in the future. You're basically opting in for a preview or a small solution to a bigger problem that you're having, right? So we've covered the core concept of what a lead magnet is, but what we're going to do now is dive in and look at the 10 laws of lead magnets.
Yeah.
And once we cover these laws, you'll have a way clearer understanding of what lead magnets are and the role they can potentially have in selling your online course. So basically, the 10 laws of lead magnets. The next slide. The first law is pretty self-explanatory, and sorry, bear with me. So the first law of lead magnets is pretty self-explanatory, and it's mainly a recap of the actual definition of what a lead magnet is. So basically, a lead magnet must offer upfront value that solves a specific problem for a relevant audience. So because your lead magnet is one of the primary entry points to your funnel or your sales funnel, it must be specific, and it must speak to a known desire in order for it to be able to work for you, right? So let's look at a quick example to drill this point in further from my website. And this ties in perfectly to what we were talking about before with the case study. So this is a free case study lead magnet. I built this just on a landing page, and basically the lead magnet is how I generated $251,000 worth of sales from a $16,000 Facebook ad spend. And this lead magnet, and the way that I presented it, it's super specific, it's super direct, it's super tangible, it's super informative. And I'm not sure if you can see it down the bottom here because it's kind of hidden by the black bar at the bottom, but it's got the screenshot of results that you would have seen earlier in the webinar to help, I guess, convince people of its legitimacy, so they can actually hand over their currency, which is their first name, their email address. Now, I just want to quickly note that if you just offer something for free to your audience, it's probably not going to convert very well. You need to really have a specific direct numbers in your lead magnet, or really just be really specific in terms of what your audience is going to be getting in return for giving you the lead for receiving the lead magnet in exchange for their email address and first name. And one of the best ways that I've found that converts that is using case studies and being very specific and being very direct with the actual numbers, and basically outlining exactly what your audience is going to be getting in return for free. For free in terms of giving you their first name and their email address. The second law of lead magnets is it needs to deliver on one primary promise. So decision-making process for opting in to receive your lead magnet, it really needs to be as short as possible. Therefore, when it comes to creating a lead magnet, less is actually most likely going to be better than more. And one of the best, one of the things I kind of have to stress to you guys is that you can't summarize or break down or generalize a part of your final offer, your core offer that you're making to your audience, and use it as part of your lead magnet, because it's just not going to work. It's going to be too incomplete. If you try to offer maybe random modules or random lessons from your final course as part of your lead magnet, it's going to be a bit kind of all over the place, a bit higgledy-piggledy. It's not really going to work, and it's not really going to be able to be specific and relevant to your audience and deliver on one primary promise, because it's all over the place. So if you can make sure that your lead magnet delivers on one primary promise, it'll be a lot more successful in terms of its conversion. And remember, lead magnet's all about solving one problem, for a relevant audience. So just make sure that your lead magnet makes one primary promise to solve one problem for your relevant audience.
That's great. Yeah.
The next law of lead magnets, thank you. The next law of lead magnets is that it needs to speak directly to a known pain point by offering a solution. So you need to be speaking directly to a known pain point in your audience, and whatever that pain point is, and whatever that pain point that they're experiencing is, and offer a quick and easy solution to that pain. So a quick little band-aid to that pain. So if you think about whatever your core offer, and in terms of what course you're selling, whatever problem that's selling, think how you can kind of slice off a bit of the solution that you're selling in your core offer and repurpose that as a lead magnet to quickly solve a quick little pain point. Examples of quick pain points that I've solved as lead magnets that I've sold for my audience in the past. One of my most successful simple lead magnets, and this is just to give you an idea of how simple it is to create, is a Photoshop Facebook post template, right? Literally all it is a template for Photoshop that allows you to create posts that are maximized for the newsfeed in Facebook. And that's all it is. It's super specific. It's super relevant to the audience that's being targeted to. And it speaks to the pain point. It solves a pain point with a quick solution, which is how to create Facebook posts, which are super maximized for the newsfeed. The next law of lead magnets is
Can I jump 2 seconds? That last point, that was great. Everyone, last week when we were talking about creating your sales page, we outlined the fact that you really should have really specific examples as to what problems you were solving, right? So if you've created about 5 different problems that you were solving, and if you look at that checklist that we created for you guys, you can start looking at that for exactly this. So you've already done a lot of this work. You already know some of the pain points that your courses are solving. So essentially, you're just trying to give a little bit of a snippet, a little bit of a taste of that, and focus it in, just like Paul said. So if you know that your course is going to solve, a bunch of different things, 5 different pain points, and here's the 10 lessons that you're going to be able to focus on, then you can just take specifically one of those pain points and make a lead magnet around one of those lead points. And then later on, you're going to be able to grow and show, oh, that worked really well for you. Now here's 9 other things that we can do, and here's my full course. So you've done this work. You guys know how to do this already. It's just doing it in a different form, if that makes sense. And one question that came in was, if you're segmenting your offer so it's really, really specific, for example, I think Belle asked, if you're doing, your audience is split B2B, it's also split B2C, or I think the question came in before, if you have a couple different audiences but one course, can you make multiple lead magnets? I'd say absolutely. I think Paul would probably say absolutely, but I'll ask him. But yeah, so you can create these different lead magnets focus those to the specific nature of that audience, just like Paul is saying. So super specific, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Specific problem solves a specific problem for a relevant audience. So if you have a B2C and a B2B segment in your database, the way in which you address like the pain points of those two different verticals, they're different, right? And your core offer could perfectly solve the problems for both of them. But in terms of indoctrinating those leads, B2C and B2B, into your funnel initially, like you need to be talking to them in different ways because their pain points are going to be different. I'm not sure specifically what the course is that's being created and what problem it's solving, but definitely you need to speak specifically to the relevant problem of the audience that you're targeting.
Perfect. And yeah, Lewis asked, do you have this ability to create forms in Thinkific to be able to start capturing these leads? So we'll get into that at the very end, showing you how exactly. But yeah, absolutely. Really what you can do is have a small mini course, and just like people start creating or log in and put their email address and their name in to sign up for a free course for you now, you can still do that. But also you could use any other kind of landing page, and I'll walk you through kind of the step-by-step process of that. But we'll let Paul keep going on the rules, because right now they're pretty damn spot on, and I'm riveting. I have a page full of notes already. So
awesome. So I'm going to quickly go through the rest of the laws, get into examples, and then at the end I'll try and tie it up and answer as many questions as I can that you guys have. So the fourth law of lead magnets is that it gives your audience a cigarette, right? Now, what I mean by this is that by giving your audience a lead magnet, you are offering a temporary fix to their cravings, right? You're offering them immediate gratification. Remember, it's kind of like a Band-Aid. You're offering them immediate gratification for the problem they haven't had at hand. And it's only a temporary solution to that problem, because you need to remember that, and I'm sure you guys have all experienced this whenever you've started learning about something new, or whenever you try to solve a new problem that you're having. The more that you learn about whatever problem that you have, the more that you realize how much you don't actually know, right? Because your lead magnet needs to be effectively give your audience a cigarette, a temporary fix to their cravings, it means that a newsletter is not going to be an effective form of a lead magnet. Newsletters are not lead magnets. They are not effective lead magnets. They just won't work as lead magnets. So if you think of using a newsletter, just don't, because it won't work and it'll just waste your time. It won't convert for you. You need to remember that because your lead magnet is only offering a small slice of value based off whatever core offer you're going to be eventually selling to your audience, it doesn't completely solve their problem in its entirety, right? Hence, it gives your audience a cigarette, because it's a temporary fix to their cravings until they eventually need a better solution to the problem at hand, right? And that's not to say that like the lead magnet shouldn't be valuable. It really needs to be valuable, and it really needs to like the specificity and the relevancy. It needs to do all those things, and it needs to provide a lot of value. But you don't want to cannibalize the success of your core offer, the sale of your course at the end of your funnel, by offering too much value up front. Because if you solve someone's problem like straight up with the lead magnet, because you just made the best lead magnet ever, which is awesome, but it doesn't actually leave anything for you to actually sell, you've effectively given away what you were trying to actually sell within your lead magnet. So you don't want there to be a cannibalization between the two. You don't want to give them too much before they get to the end of your funnel.
No, that's great.
Yep, cool. So the next law of lead magnets is that it gives your audience the red pill. What do I mean by this? So your lead magnet really needs to be the red pill to the matrix that is your business, right? So by opting into your lead magnet, your audience has effectively swallowed your red pill, allowing them to stay in your wonderland. Now that they're there, you can show them how deep the rabbit hole goes, right? So this is one of my favorite analogies that I've ever come up with, relating, the Matrix and the movie that is the Matrix to sales funnels and lead magnets, and it works perfectly. Now, if you didn't get the reference, I'm talking about the movie or the trilogy of movies, The Matrix, came out in 1999. And in this movie, there's a scene where Morpheus gives the protagonist of the film series, Neo, the opportunity to take either a blue pill or a red pill, right? And the quote in the movie goes something along the lines of, "This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. you wake up in your bed and you believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. If your audience doesn't opt into your lead magnet, they have in effect taken the blue pill, right? Their story has ended. They'll wake up tomorrow blissfully unaware of whatever their problem actually is, right? They'll have no idea because they weren't interested. They don't take your lead magnet, they've taken the blue pill. They'll wake up tomorrow and be just as blissfully ignorant to their problem and how they're going to be able to solve it as what they were the day before, right? They've just kind of not gone ahead with anything. However, if your audience opts into your lead magnet, they've chosen to take the red pill, right? By taking the red pill, they've given you permission to show them exactly what their problem is, right? With this permission, you can now begin to update their relationship status with your business by courting them into the next phase of your funnel, which may either be a paid content upgrade or eventually the sale, right? Once they've taken the red pill, once they've given you the permission to actually explain to them what their problem actually is in way more detail, you'll be able to a lot more easily convert them to your core offer, because by paying you with their first name and email address, they're effectively giving you permission to talk to them and continue a relationship with them. Whereas if they didn't opt into your lead magnet, they took the blue pill, they've opted out, and you have no way of talking to them in the future to explain and help them to solve their problem. Just bear with me 2 seconds. There's a bit of water. Alrighty, so
I think that's great too, because everyone who's doing this, we talked last week about, you're asking a stranger for $100, and the sales page is starting to help warm that up. So you're giving people reasons why it makes sense to actually buy your course. The beauty with lead magnets is, you're doing it from a business aspect to kind of get people into this funnel, into this rabbit hole, and keep them in your sales funnel. But from a customer's perspective, it's actually really valuable and helps them. So from a relationship standpoint, you're offering something a little bit free. You're offering somebody some content that's actually going to help them, but you're doing it as a little bit of a small dose of it, like an appetizer. So it's really, really helpful for your clients. It gives you some authority on what you're teaching and starts allowing you to build that relationship in a really positive manner before later on in the sales page you start asking for money. So I think there's, what you're thinking about from yourself from a business perspective on what really you're building strategically to get people into your sales funnel. But from a user standpoint, you have to look at it as like you're really offering a lot of value. So don't feel like you're scheming or you're like tying people into a sales funnel that they can't get out of. From their perspective, they're getting content and you're providing free, valuable content for them. And in this day and age, everyone is more than willing, if it's good content, give an email address, no problem, for you to help them. So flip it in reverse and put it in your perspective, right? Like, don't beat up on yourself. You're like, I don't feel like, I don't want to be manipulative. I don't want to game people into taking my lead magnet and getting their contact information so I can sell them something. Like, providing that what you've created, and I'm sure that all of you are on this page, like, I'm sure the courses that you've created for whatever price point, whether it be $99 or $997, they are probably awesome, right? And they probably solve a really, really big problem for your audience, and you put a lot of time and effort into creating it. The monetization of that core offer, your course, is pretty much just like you just sort of look at it as an exchange of value. You're being given money by your audience to help them perfectly solve their problem with your course, right? And the lead magnet's the same thing, except it's free, right? Or it's free in a sense, because what they're doing is they're not paying with money, they're paying with permission. They're paying with their first name and email address, and in exchange, they're getting a chunk of value to help them solve their problem. It's the same thing, and we're going to get to a bunch of examples in a sec, which would further illustrate this point. But you shouldn't feel bad about it, because at the end of the day, you're giving them value and you're letting them try before they buy, right? Sales funnels and selling is a lot. I look at it. It's the same as dating, right? You're not going to go and marry someone and like go off and elope with them to the Bahamas or wherever. The day that you meet them, right? Like most likely, like it starts by, a few conversations that may lead into a date. And then on the date, you kind of work out like whether you guys like each other, and you might then try, go on some more serious dates, or you might go do some more expensive things and spend some more time with them. The whole process of dating and courtship is kind of similar to getting a lead magnet
giving a lead magnet to your prospective customer and kind of teaching them and showing them like, oh, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. I'm a good dude. Like, I've got a lot of value to provide. I've got my head screwed on, that kind of thing. And ultimately the goal is to, court them through a process of building that relationship through your lead magnets and through the value and through the perpetual problems that you're solving for them. And then eventually asking them, making a proposal to them, getting down on one knee and being like, look, I really like you. I hope you like me too. Here's my proposal. And the proposal would be, your core offer. Are you interested? Would you like to, elope with me and, take my proposal so I can keep solving your problem with you in the future, right? It's very similar and the analogy is not that strong, but like you've got to look at it as a process of building a relationship, and a lead magnet is one of the most perfect ways of doing that.
Okay.
Alrighty, so moving on to the next point. Lost my place in my notes, sorry. Alrighty, the sixth law is that your lead magnet needs to have a high perception of value. So this one's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to dwell on it for too long. If your lead magnet doesn't have a high perceived value, your audience isn't going to opt in. Plain and simple, right? So if my lead magnet the example I gave you earlier was how I turned $250,000 worth of Facebook ads into $16,000 worth of sales, right? AKA, how did I lose like $220,000 odd because I'm bad at marketing? If it was the reverse, like, do you think no one would opt into that because there's no perception of high value? So you just really need to just make sure that there's a high perception of high value going in straight to your audience, to the relevant audience, and solving a specific problem, and it needs to have that high perception of value. Like I said before, this next one's super simple as well, but basically a lead magnet is not a newsletter. So asking someone to join your newsletter is not a lead magnet because there's no perception of high value, and it's essentially like it's synonymous with like, hey, give me your email address so I can send you emails all the time and clutter your inbox even more than it's already cluttered. So newsletters are not good examples of lead magnets. They're not lead magnets at all. The next law of lead magnets is that they actually have high value. So not only does it have to be a high perception of value, so on the face value, not only does it have to have a high perception of value, it actually has to have high value, right? So you need to remember that your lead magnet is showing your audience exactly what their problem is, and you're doing that by offering them a specific solution to that problem, right? So you need to actually make sure that the solution that you're offering actually has high value as much as it's perceived as having high value. Because if your lead magnet doesn't have high value, then because it's effectively like a try before you buy, remember it's like you're kind of dating before you're going to go and like elope in the Bahamas with your audience, right? Because because it's like a process of courtship and it's like dating, you need to make sure that the value that your lead magnet is actually providing solves a problem. Because if your lead magnet doesn't have high value, or if there's a misdirect between the perception of high value and the actual value that lead magnet creates, then there's not going to be much trust that's going to be built with your audience. And it's not going to be likely that they're going to actually trust the fact that you're going to be offering them an awesome solution in the core offer. And if they don't believe, and there's no trust and authority there, they don't believe that you can actually be giving them high value in your core offer, like your course that you're going to be selling, then it's going to really hurt your sales. So you need to make sure that it actually has high value. The next law, and this is option A, there's two parts, so there's option A and option B. So I'm going to go through option A first. So your lead magnet can either be a quick win. So to pull it back to the example that I gave you earlier with the Facebook posts lead magnet that I was talking about, that's a quick win. It's like, here's a Facebook post template for Photoshop, download it, your first name, email address, and you can then create perfect Facebook posts which maximize the space on the available space on the newsfeed, right? Quick win. So the first option for your lead magnet is that it can be a quick win like this. So if you're targeting audience members or members of your audience that you don't currently have a context or a relationship with, your lead magnet really needs to be low in time commitment. It needs to give them a quick win, and it needs to do that by offering them instant gratification in 5 minutes or less, right? So if you are going to go cold and try to target cold members of your audience that fit into your target market, but you don't have any relationship with them, you've never heard of them before, then you want to make sure that your lead magnet's low in time commitment because it needs to be a quick win. There's not going to be much, your lead magnet won't be that successful or as successful as what it could be if you have a really high time commitment lead magnet that you offer to an audience that you don't have a relationship with, because they're just going to kind of be like, oh, it's probably not the best solution to my problem. I don't have, time's valuable to me. I'm not going to spend half an hour consuming your lead magnet if I don't already have an existing relationship with you. And the next option and the final law, which is the second option of this law, is that it needs to be, it's either a low commitment lead magnet or it's a value bomb, right? So value bomb is the second option, and it's a high commitment lead magnet. So it's high in time commitment. So if you're targeting members of your audience that you actually already have a relationship with, you might have, they follow you on Facebook or they follow you on Twitter or Instagram, they're on your email list already, then you can go ahead and offer them a higher time commitment lead magnet, because it's going to be full of amazing value. It's going to solve a specific problem for your relevant audience. And most importantly, they're going to be willing to actually spend the time to invest in the high commitment of time to that lead magnet, consuming it, completing it, because they have a relationship with you already, or because you specifically address one of the problems they're having. So that's when I would use, and that's the difference between the two. That's when I would use a high commitment lead magnet as opposed to a low commitment lead magnet. So to tie it back into the example that we talked about earlier, the Facebook post template, that's super simple. It's a quick win. It goes to members of my audience that is super, super cold. I think I show up on the first page of Google, my website, for Facebook post template keyword, the keyword for Facebook post template. I just convert heaps of cold traffic for free into my email ecosystem by offering them that quick win, because it's specific, right? It's a Facebook post template. That's what they search for on Google. It solves it's a relevant audience, and it solves their problem, and it's perfect. Whereas if I tried to sell them, say, a mini course that I've got called Facebook Funnels 101, it's like a it's almost a 2-hour course, right? Teaches you exactly how to set up a Facebook funnel and start creating automated leads on autopilot for your business using Facebook and Instagram ads. If I try to give that audience, that same audience, that lead magnet, it just wouldn't work. No one would be interested, because A, it's not relevant, and B, it doesn't solve a specific problem for that audience. And C, it's a high time commitment. So despite the fact that it is a value bomb, it's not relevant. And in effect, if you go back and look at all the laws that we've been through thus far, that will give you an idea in terms of why it's not successful, because of the audience. It's targeted to the wrong audience. And it also gives you an idea of why the Facebook post template would be successful for that same audience, because it's a quick win.
So there are some really good questions coming in. Tammy asked a really good question. On Thinkific, you can create a free trial session. So let's say I have, 10 different chapters in my course. I can check right now and think if maybe my first chapter is a free trial. So people that get to my course can look at a free trial, test the content out, and they feel more comfortable. So we've always done that. It's a really great way if someone who's new is coming to you and that relationship is cool, they can get some information. Is this a lead magnet? I would say no, not really. The difference being very specific to what Paul had said, it doesn't get you to that solution yet, right? So you typically, if you're in a chapter of a course, section 1 isn't necessarily solving its own problem. It's introducing you to one of many things that you're going to be learning. And after 10 chapters, you're going to become an expert, or you're going to have solved your problem. So it is there if you change how it's presented. So if right now in your first chapter, because someone else, Rob made a comment, so it was a mini course, not a good lead magnet. No, a mini course can be a good lead magnet, I would say. The difference is does that course, to Paul's comments, is it very specific, and does it get you to a solution, and does it get you to a solution very quickly? So if you're able to take, I have this free trial, or chapter 1 is its own very specific example. Like, so we have Deanne Love, who does a Hoop Lovers course on our site right now, who does extremely well. Right now she has, I think, we do 115 different hula hoop moves in one of her bigger courses. So she's made a smaller course that teaches you how to make only a couple of those moves and made it as a mini course. So very specifically, you know what you're going to be learning. Very specifically, you get a quick win on it. You know how to learn a hula hoop course or a hula hoop move. And you've solved that problem, and then it leads into a bigger one. So yeah, a free mini course can be really good. And yes, it's different than a trial, as so long as you position it in a way that shows them really high value in a very quick win.
Yeah, so this is all gonna, this is everything that we've been through already. The 10 laws of lead magnets we've just been through. I know it might be a bit confusing. I've gone off on a bit of tangent here and there. By the end of the next 15 minutes, tops, it's all gonna come full circle and it's all just gonna make sense. And I mean, spoiler alert, like I'm gonna be giving you like a cheat sheet, which allows you to kind of like a checklist cheat sheet that you can like tick off, which is a lead magnet effectively for me, right? Which is kind of cool. You get the full 360 back and forth, like transparent kind of look at the process. But basically this cheat sheet, right, it gives you all the 10 laws of lead magnets and it shows you exactly how to choose the right lead magnet. And because we've got the 10 laws of lead magnets, you can basically like reverse engineer your lead magnet by using this cheat sheet and work out whether it's going to be the right lead magnet for your audience based on where your audience, which audience you're targeting and whereabouts they are in your whole sales funnel process. So it'll, like I said, I'll continue on and it's going to make a lot more sense when we get to the end.
And we recognize it is 5 in our time and whatever time you are around the world. So if you have to leave, it's not a problem. You know, I think you're getting to us and we're super passionate about this, and I can talk for about a week on all these topics, and we're fitting an absolute ton in for you over the course of 30 and 30 to get this information for you. We're giving you a crash course on what it is to make a marketing funnel. So there's a lot to go through. If you need to leave, it's not a problem. All the recordings are going to be on online in your course. You're going to be able to access them. We'll get them up afterwards. So just a caveat there that if you need to leave, we're still here and we're going to finish off. But if you need to go, it's okay. But we love having you and we'll add questions.
Yeah. I've only got 10 slides left, so we're almost at the end. So
yeah,
if you have to leave, that's cool, but I'm almost there. We're almost there. So what we're going to get into now is some examples of lead magnets, right? So basically, we're going to look at some really cool examples and kind of hopefully give you a bit of inspiration in terms of how you can reverse engineer and recreate them for your business. Now, as we go through these examples, it's likely you're going to see more than one type of lead magnet that you can incorporate into your sales funnel. And that's awesome. But I just want you to make sure that the lead magnet you do create is really, really related to the one core offer or the one course that you're trying to sell. Remember, it all goes back to the laws. It needs to be relevant and it needs to be specific. If you don't, you'll start sending your audiences mixed messages and they'll, you know, it'll actually convert less for you. It'll just be confusing the audience and everybody loses essentially. So just remember, make sure it's related to whatever core offer or whatever course you're going to be selling at the end, and make sure it's specific and relevant to the audience that it's being presented to. Alrighty, so this next lead magnet I'm going to look at is the one we touched on earlier. And this first type of lead magnet is an example of a case study lead magnet. Case studies are awesome examples of low commitment lead magnets. This is the same genre. This is the exact same lead magnet that I use to indoctrinate people into my funnel to sell my course, right? It converts really, really well. Let's have a quick look at how it works. So this genre of lead magnet kind of plays off the psychological curiosity that your audience has to either learn more about what their problem is or discover what is actually possible in terms of solving that problem. Why do they work well? Well, these case study lead magnet works really well because they effectively build really great levels of trust and authority with your audience by demonstrating real results and actual proof that you are the right person to be listening to. You're the authority. You are trustworthy in terms of being the right person that they need to talk to help them solve their problem. And how do you create this type of lead magnet? Well, the easiest way to create the case study type lead magnet is to simply demonstrate the results you've been able to achieve using your core offer by offering it to your audience in a case study. So by doing this, you can then show your audience what is actually possible once they complete your course, once they've solved their problem. Once they've completed their course, they've solved their problem, and you're basically showing them what is possible once they've done that. And yeah, and that could be the most effective way that you can do that through the case study. Alrighty, so moving on to the next one, the blueprint/cheat sheet. So this is the lead magnet effectively that I've connected onto this webinar. So if you want to check it out, you can go to the URL that's down there. If not, that's totally cool. But the cheat sheet or the blueprint, actually, yeah, the cheat sheet or the blueprint is one of my favorite types of lead magnets. This example actually is an example of the lead magnet that I've created called the Perfect Facebook Post Blueprint. And it basically tells an audience how to get insane organic reach from their Facebook posts and what they need to do in order to get that. It's just a really simple blueprint. And the reason why blueprints and cheat sheets and handouts and shortcuts work so well is because you got to remember that at the end of the day, people are really inherently lazy, right? Everybody's always looking for the path of least resistance. And by offering a blueprint or a cheat sheet or some kind of shortcut to help solve that problem, it's a quick win, people are going to jump on it. And because it's a quick win, that's why they work so well. Moving on to the next example, which is probably more specific and relatable to you guys, is the free mini course or the free download of the free trial lead magnet. So like I mentioned earlier, this lead magnet is a lead magnet that is high in time commitment, and it's the lead magnet that I'm currently using to drive more trust, awareness, and eventually sales for my online course in my funnel. Now, these work incredibly well. You just need to make sure that they're being presented to the right audience, and that and by presenting to the right audience, I mean that if it's a brand new person that's never heard of your business before or doesn't actually even know what their problem is, then this wouldn't be the most relevant lead magnet for them because it's too high in time commitment. But if you have someone that's already like consumed piece of your content and they already know what their problem is and actually need some tangible help to actually solve that problem, then this type of mini course is a great solution as a value bomb lead magnet. Andrew, did you want to add anything into this one?
Yeah, so Audrey just asked a really, really great question, which is what happens if I don't have examples that are as good as yours? Like what happens if I don't have examples that are, I took $6,000 and turned it into over $160,000?
Yep.
And I'm nervous. So yeah, jump at it. I have some suggestions too. Go for it.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess if you don't have specific examples and you don't actually, honestly, you don't actually have to have such great examples. Like this converts really, really well. And, I'll admit one of the reasons it works so well is because I've got the proof, I've done it, and it's so related to the core offer and it's so related to the problem that I'm solving that it, converts really well and works really well. If you don't have the results, other great things would be, for example, stating what the problem is, what the problem that mini course solves, and then using social proof from people that have already completed either the core offer or that have already completed, more specifically, the lead magnet. They've already completed that free mini course. Having their avatar, like a photo of them smiling, and a little blurb and review, and a link that links them to their Facebook page or to their Twitter ID or Instagram handle, reviewing the benefits of the course. That's demonstrating value, and that's demonstrating a high perception of value and a proof of results. So, if your mini course solves problem X, and then you have solves problem X by offering A, B, C, and then you have a clear, section with 3 people, people that have actually taken your course in the past, reviewing how good and how helpful this mini course was, then that'll really help you demonstrate value and demonstrate proof of results, because these are real people that have used your lead magnet or used your mini course to help you solve their problem. And then if you want to go a step further, video reviews, just take exactly what I just said, but use video reviews, actual real people sitting in front of a webcam and video reviewing your lead magnet in terms of a demonstration and proof. They work really, really well. And I think it's a great way to demonstrate the value of your mini course if you don't have any, really large tangible results, because people don't trust brands, people trust people. And that's one of the most effective ways in which you can create conversions, especially for opt-ins to a lead magnet.
And think about your audience, guys. Like that, Paul made such a great point. And think about your audience. I mean, Paul's audience, you're looking at examples of lead generation magnets that Paul uses. That, financial incentives are huge for his audience, right? Like saying he's talking to marketers, he's talking to entrepreneurs who are trying to do this. And so the pain point is that. So he's speaking to it with really big, tangible results. But now if you have a different audience, like I do a cake decorating class. If I have a cake decorating class, well, sure, I might not change your world in the fact that I can create $160,000 for you, but there are significant pain problems that people deal with even a cake decorating class. So I know that there's things that you can do with your fondant, for example, that you would be up all night because you're trying to fix the recipe that you messed up. So if I create a checklist that said never ruin your fondant again, 10 ways to avoid or 10 ways to get perfect fondant every time, that's sure doesn't seem maybe equivalent to some some viewers. That doesn't seem equivalent to, oh, I sold $160,000, but to my audience it matters. Like, to my audience, that's why they came to my course. That's why they want to essentially interact with me. So you just have to understand what that pain problem is. And if you understand your clients, understand that pain problem, then it's going to seem like a really important topic that you're discussing. So I think
that's it.
Solve that. Think about that.
And it all goes back to the laws of lead magnets we already covered. And the definition, like, it solves a specific problem for a relevant audience, right? So like, the problem that I'm solving is getting, how to marketers, how to business owners, how to entrepreneurs get a better return from their Facebook ad spend, right? How do they actually spend money and get a great return from it and not waste their time and not stress over it and, more importantly, not waste their money. That's the problem that I'm solving. How do you get a better return on investment from your Facebook ads without stressing yourself out over it, right? That's what I'm solving. The solution is with this lead magnet, for example, the mini course, how to set up your first Facebook funnel, right? So you can generate leads and sales on autopilot. And then my eventual course is, it's called Funnels 101, a 2.0. It's the complete digital marketing blueprint to automated selling. So it takes everything and it builds on everything that I've presented and the problems that I've already solved in this free course, and takes us to a whole new level of automation, sophistication, and revenue generation, because it's the complete blueprint, right? This is a small taste of what's possible. And then my core offer, the actual course, Funnels 101, is the actual solves the problem entirely, right? And that's specific and relevant to my audience. But if you're the problem that you're solving is more instructional, or it's more how-to, or it's more kind of like teaching or consulting service-based, then you need to speak to the pain points that are relevant to your specific audience and solve that specific problem. So it all ties back into the 10 laws and solving the specific problem for a relevant audience. I'm going to move on quickly because I know that we've gone quite a while now, so I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. So the next example is the free report. So these work really well if you can condense part of your course or your core offer into a report that's easy to consume and full of a lot of value. Just be careful though, because these types of lead magnets tend not to be as effective as they're super oversaturated in the marketplace. And we can thank a lot of bigger corporations for that, because they're kind of a very easy, safe, lead magnet that large corporations can create. And as a result of that, they've been, they're everywhere and they're super oversaturated. But if you've got a unique report that you can create for your industry that's related to your core offer, that helps people understand their problem and is specific and relevant, then I say go for it. One of the things that if you've ever heard me speak before, or if you ever followed any of my content, I am a big believer in split testing. So no matter what assumptions or what lead magnets or what ads or what emails you're sending out, I always recommend that you split test. You test multiple versions of those ads and let your audience and the data define what's going to work. So if you've got the time and in the future, and you don't have to do this, but just FYI, if you're not sure on the type of lead magnet you can create, then you could create two, right? And then send it to different parts of your audience and see which one converts better and which one costs you less money to convert or has a higher conversion rate. And that will kind of help you, the data will help you decide which one is the best to go with moving forward if you're uncertain and if you don't really know which is the best one to go with. Mm-hmm. The next type of lead magnets, just some more examples, are the quiz survey, which is basically what they work by quizzing the audience to find out what their number one biggest weakness is. And after they completed the quiz, or the survey, it reveals their number one biggest weakness. But in order to find out their results to the quiz that they've taken, you have to put in, after you've already spent the time filling out the quiz, right? You have to put in your first name and email address in order to get your results. So if you've ever done like an online IQ test before, they're a perfect example of the quiz survey lead magnet. So you do the IQ test, they take depending on how much time you want to spend on it, let's say they take 15 to 20 minutes, right? High time commitment, but it solves a problem, because the problem that you have is you want to know what your IQ is, right? So you're willing to invest the time to find out, how smart you are. And you fill it all out, you have to put a first name or email address in at the start. You spend the 15 plus minutes or whatever it takes you to complete the IQ test. And then you're like, yeah, wicked. All right, I'm going to get my answer. What's my answer? And then it's like, oh, sorry, first name, email address, and we'll send you your answer by email, right? And the problem that that's solving is that, you know, you've already done the quiz, you want the answer to the IQ test, and then they're going to send that answer to you once you've given them your first name and email. So that's the exchange of value that's going on there. The next example is the assessment test, and they work very, very similar to the way that the quiz works. They basically test you, assess where you're at related to a specific problem, and then in order to get your results, you have to opt in and get the results sent to your email. Next one, perfect example, the free ebook. It's an example that I've got on the left. So this example is from, I'm pretty sure it's Brian Dean at Backlinko. Awesome dude if you want to learn anything about SEO. This ebook is perfect, right? It's specific. It speaks to a relevant audience because it's on his website, and it's basically his website is all about search engine optimization. And the pain point that he's solving, or the problem that he's solving, is how to get more free visitors, right, through SEO, how to get 25 visitors per month. And then it's like the description, basically, you download this free ebook and you can learn how to generate 25,000 unique visitors per month. And if you're already at 25,000 visitors, then we'll show you how to get 25,000 more. And then you just have to hit the download button and boom, away you go. So it's solving a specific problem for a relevant audience, and it's a really, really quick win, right? The next example is a 5-day challenge. So a 5-day challenge could be like a 5-day video challenge, or, you know, it could be a longer challenge where basically you challenge your audience by giving them chunks of value to help them with the challenge. You could gamify it and try to create a leaderboard, or try to create some kind of inherent value. You know, whoever wins out of the 100 people that are doing this 5-day challenge wins a $1,000 gift voucher to, I don't know, Facebook to spend on ads or whatever. 5-day challenges are really great forms of more high commitment lead magnets. And then if you don't actually have a lead magnet and the course that you're offering is highly service-based, then a free coaching session is a really great example of a lead magnet, right? So the free coaching session is basically like you're directly solving the problem by giving away your time for free, right? So if it's, you know, 30-minute free coaching session, which, you know, will help you solve problem X by going through A, B, C with you, it's going to be no selling. I'm just going to 100% give my value. My time is valued at X amount per hour. So inherently that, you know, there's a high perception of value, and then you deliver on that high perception of value by giving them real tangible help and advice by giving them a free coaching 30-minute session. And you can do that over Skype. It's probably not one of the most scalable examples of lead magnets, but, you know, if you don't have a lead magnet, or you just want to kind of like test a lead magnet for a proof of concept to see if it's going to work for your funnel, and it will, this is one of the best ways that you can do it. All you have to do is just you trade your time in exchange for the first name and email address. I'm going to quickly revise the key points to remember about lead magnets. So you must be careful and only focus on explaining what is possible within your lead magnet, and not actually how to like solve it completely, right? So by all means, like solve the premise or the overarching ideology behind how you did it. Like that I did in the case of in my case study examples, but do not explicitly explain how to do it. Because remember, you don't want your lead magnet to cannibalize your actual core offer. You don't want your lead magnet to have so much value that it stops people from buying your course because you've already solved their problem, right? That won't work, right? It'll, you know, get a lot of opt-ins and a lot of people that are keen to join in to get the lead magnet, but it's not actually going to lead to sales. Now you need to remember that just like I said before, your lead magnet really needs to be incomplete. Otherwise, it will not effectively allow you to, you know, move and filter people down the relationship process of your business to eventually buying your course. All right, I'm going to look at now, it's like we're at 4 more slides to go. I'm going to quickly look at how you can find your lead magnet, right? So by now, you should have a solid understanding of, you know, the concept of lead magnets, the 10 laws of lead magnets, and the different types of lead magnets that you can potentially use. So I'm going to quickly help you brainstorm what I like to call, you know, the elevator pitch, and kind of show you how to find your elevator pitch for your lead magnet. So the elevator pitch, what is it? Well, the elevator pitch of your lead magnet is basically, it ensures that you have the best chance of converting cold prospects into leads, right? It's the best chance of converting people who've never heard of you before into first name and email address contact info for your database. So how do you find it? How do you find this elevator pitch? Well, what you need to think about is, imagine that you were stuck in an elevator, right? And the people that were in that elevator with you was your audience. So if you were stuck in an elevator with your audience and you only had a few minutes to blow their mind, what would you tell them about your lead magnet that would make them go, wow, that is legit, right? What would you tell them? How would you do that? How would you demonstrate that you are the very best at what you do without talking yourself up and without being, narcissistic or arrogant or pompous? Like, how do you basically rock up to the show and be like, yeah, I can really, really help you with this problem. Like, I'll help you for free. I've got some results, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. And how can you kind of present that in a way that makes your audience go, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. I think I need to definitely check what they're talking about out, because that sounds like the perfect solution to the problem that I'm having. Another way that you can work out how to, define your elevator pitch is, like I said earlier, focus on what the one thing that is causing your audience pain. So what is the one thing that is causing your audience pain and frustration at the moment? What is it? And how can you, solve that problem temporarily, or how can you provide some more value to help them understand what their problem is some more, right? What's that pain point? What is it? What kind of content can you create to help solve this problem that relates to your core offer? So again, using the example that I did, so my elevator pitch is really inherent in the free case study that I'm offering, which is related to my course. So again, it's the case study, right? I'm using this case study to solve the pain point, essentially the implicit pain point of, how do you get better return from your Facebook ads? How do you develop a system that can help you generate a lot of revenue for whatever product you're selling? How do you do that? So in this course, I teach students the digital marketing funnel blueprint for automated selling, and like I told you earlier. And I'm just going to go through like the elevator pitch and the principles of the elevator pitch and apply it to my, as a work example. So apply it to my lead magnet to give you a kind of behind the scenes, my thinking behind it. So give me 2 seconds to find my notes. So how can I make the audience say, wow, if I only had a few minutes to impress them in my elevator pitch? So basically the way that I'm doing that to make my audience go, wow, is that, here's a big number, $250,000 sales in 32 days. I spent, a fraction of that in ads, and that was the return that I generated, right? That's the big wow. That's essentially the elevator pitch. How can I demonstrate that I'm the best at what I do? What results do I have which I can use to prove this? So again, if you look at the bottom, you can't really see it there at the bottom because it's hidden by the black bar, but at the bottom, it's a screenshot of results. And it shows you the results that we covered at the very start of this webinar. That's the proof, right? That's my proof. And again, going back to the question that was presented earlier, if you don't have these kind of results, or you don't have anything, that's actual, that you can screenshot and be like, this is what you're going to get, or this is what you're going to learn about, this is the proof, then use social proof, right? Make the social proof, convince people of how valuable your offer is, because remember, people don't trust brands, people trust people, and having social proof with the photos and making it human and personifying your brand and personifying the value that you provided through this solution that you're giving to this pain point and this problem through people's socially sourced word of mouth or word of mouse reviews, that is wicked proof within itself, right? You want to remember, can you demonstrate, the next one is you want to remember if you can demonstrate the results without explaining exactly how you did it. You want to explain what you did, but not how you did it. Because remember, it needs to be incomplete. It needs to not cannibalize your ultimate sale of your course. Because like I said earlier, if you offer too much value in your lead magnets, it's not going to effectively set you up for the sale at the end of the day. And that's just going to be counterproductive to everything you're doing for your funnel. And the last one, with working out your elevated pitches, how can you quickly package these results or this proof and this quick problem that you're solving, which relates to the product that you're offering? So the way that I chose to package it was in the case study, and it's related to the offer that I'm selling because it's a demonstration of what happens if you apply the system that I teach in my course. This is the kind of results that you could potentially get. I'm not guaranteeing you'll get them, but this is what's potentially possible using this approach, right? We're on to the second last slide. So if you wanted to, you can download this lead magnet worksheet that I referred to earlier, which basically contains, the 10 laws of lead magnet checklist. It contains a worksheet to help you find your perfect lead magnet And it also has a final worksheet, which you can transpose everything you've done on the first few pages of the worksheet to work out your chosen lead magnet, the best one for your audience. And the URL for that one is there. Again, this is a perfect, this right now, like if you go and opt into this is a lead magnet from me, right? So by signing up to this lead magnet, you'll put in your first name and your email address, and then you'll basically be indoctrinated into my automated email funnel, and you'll be able to, like, it's kind of like a choose your own journey, and it'll basically take you on the automated email funnel process that I've got set up for my business. So if you want to have an insight in terms of how I've done that as well, by all means, do that. And if you're not interested, that's cool as well. Like, it's all good. So yeah, that's URL.
Yeah, we're gonna put that into that 30 and 30 course. So the link is here, but we'll also put that into the link into the course so you can follow through. But it's, like Paul said, a great example. Like, on one hand, it is a lead magnet, so you're gonna be able to click it, get the information, and understand, you know, what you should be doing for your own lead magnets. But I would also just recommend you do it just so that you sit there and understand what comes after a lead magnet, and start looking at it with, like, put on your business glasses and start saying, wow, like, he set up this program, so I'm getting this content, but now what happens? And, like, how do I feel about, I've been introduced to Paul today. All right, I never knew Paul before, and now I see a lead magnet. I'm gonna put some information. Did it give me some instant results? Did it solve a very specific problem? And then how do I start, you know, how does his email automation system that goes out after that lead magnet start nurturing me as a client? And we're gonna start teaching you at the end of the month, when we have a webinar with Daryl from ConvertKit on how to actually nurture that email.
That's it. And FYI, I love ConvertKit, and ConvertKit is the email system that I'm using at the moment. So the landing page, if you go to that link right now, the landing page that I've set up, I built that in ConvertKit. The whole automated email sequence that you get after that, and all the automations that go on behind the scenes, I built in ConvertKit. I'm a massive fanboy for ConvertKit. I think it's one of the best email marketing platforms I've used a lot, and it's the best one that I've ever used. It's so simple. Not trying to sell you on ConvertKit, but if you know, you are thinking, or you need an email marketing platform to put into your funnel, ConvertKit's awesome, and it's exactly the same one. The emails you're getting from me are being distributed to you by ConvertKit. So it kind of give you a 360-degree, I guess, comprehensive, transparent understanding of what's going on in the back end, and also what's going on in the front end, if you were to opt into that lead magnet. And if you don't, that's cool as well. But yeah, what Andrew is saying in terms of getting that full experience.
That's wicked. Okay, so Paul, you're done your slides, right?
Yeah, the last one was just me saying thank you.
Okay, so